Oh my, the lighting is terrible on my YouTube, and I don't feel like getting up and getting my ring light, but we'll make it do what it do. Um, let's see if it'll get better. Okay, here we go. It gets a little better. So what's up, everyone? It's your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva. Just felt like hopping on and doing some lives on my YouTube as well as my personal Facebook. Um, I just want to hop on here and talk about a couple of headlines and some things that some people may have forgotten. As you all know, in the city of Memphis, a young man was beaten literally to death by five police officers who also blockaded the EMTs or disallowed the EMTs to even provide him with any type of, aid or whatever. And so I will say this: the police chief out there in Memphis and Shelby County uh, did an excellent job of being swift about it. There is no need to even try to dance around the subject matter. What they did was unconscionable, egregious, inhumane, and highly uncalled for a basic traffic stop. The Tyree Nichols is described as your typical California kid doing his own thing. Family relocated to Memphis, but he was in the skateboarding and that type of just living life and enjoying life, photography, that type of thing. And for it to be his life to be just smited out by egos and it's so sad because you have five black officers. There's also a white one implicated, but the deal with him is that he's not going to be relieved of duty, something about pending an investigation. But it is so sad, and I did not have to see the video, I just had to hear the audio, and that was enough for me. The question is, what was the reason? Why? And that's why, you heard what I thought was a bad slogan, but defund the police. What you want to do is reorganize the police, do more community policing, get you some block captains, and have them patrol the area. Because and then on top of that, there needs to be better psychological evaluations done on these people. Also, I don't think that anyone should be joining the force who has not at least had gotten a 4-year degree, preferably in psychology, sociology, something that has to deal with humanity because you have people I mean, LA by far has been doing a lot of shooting and killing and just it's just awful. Um, I believe a disabled man, a W amputee, was recently assassinated by LA cops. You had the young English teacher who I think had weed or something, and he was in a traffic accident, and apparently he's a cousin to one of the Black Lives Matter founders. He was murdered by LAPD. And I don't even know what's being done with those officers, but Memphis was like, y'all ain't got no job, y'all ain't got no pension, goodbye. Now, I'm sure there will be some hell raising and some lawsuits and that type of thing, but they definitely need to be criminally prosecuted. There was no reason for five men to be beating on a young man who was 6 foot. How tall was he? 6'4", 140 pounds, because he has an autoimmune disease, Crohn's disease. And then people are like, well, if only everybody, yeah, if only everyone else did that. But had they been white officers, we know what the outcome would have been. There would have been an investigation. And I know many people are often upset and disappointed by how those investigations are handled. We all are. But I feel like what the Memphis Police Department did, the Memphis Police Chief, and the decisions that were made is exactly how it should go down when they sit up here and slaughter people. Like, why are you shooting at someone running from you? The threat is gone. Um, but what happened to Tyree Nichols, what has happened to countless other young black men and women and even the Brown brothers and sisters, it makes no sense. If you have that amount of hatred and need to control and bully, you don't need to be protecting and serving. Because so many police officers will tell you that they truly do want to bring about change in their community, but it's just the bad apples in it that will mess it up for everybody. And then there's also this blue wall thing that they like to engage in, just like doctors. Doctors will do everything they can to protect a fellow doctor's medical license, even though this man is violating the Hippocratic Oath. Okay, do no harm. Yeah, he'll butchering people negligently. Um, so anyways, prayers up for the Nichols family, for Memphis, for those of us who were traumatized by witnessing either the video or the hearing the audio or both. God bless us all, because it does not, and this is what so many others don't understand, what it's like to be black in this world. Your head is always on swivel, always on swivel. There is always going to be an air of paranoia when you wonder, like, why did someone speak to me that way? Why is this police officer pulling me over when you know you really haven't done anything wrong? It's just, it's unfortunate that it is steeped in our culture that we have to be that way and we have to live that way. But that is what it is. That is what we face every day. Now, what I wanted to talk about is the Shanquilla Robinson case. As many of you know, this young lady who is a fellow Capricorn, may she rest in peace. Her birthday just passed a week or two ago, I believe. I think she would have been 26. Went down to Mexico with some people from college that she thought were her friends, and they allowed and filmed and watched the life was literally beaten out of her. Now, quiet as it's kept, many people don't understand that, when you have an American citizen in a foreign land like Mexico, usually there's not a lot that's going to happen there, okay? But we did get some traction on that, and so they have issued an arrest warrant for the person um, that is on film that beat her to death. Now, I don't know what else is happening with that. There was an article posted on BET.com. It's been more than 3 months since she died in Mexico, and they let's see, she was 25 at the time, and went to Mexico with 6 friends from college, 4 women and 2 men, who was discovered unconscious on October 29th at a written tourist property in San Jose del Cabo in Baja California Sur, more than 1,000 miles south of San Diego. Her family said her friends told them she had died from alcohol poisoning. Remember, they all were, doing that. Uh, so a representative for Villa Linda 32, the property where the group stayed, told WJZY that the concierge contacted the doctor who attempted to revive Shanquilla, but to no avail. She was declared dead at 3 p.m. local time. It took a month before reports surfaced that Robinson was likely a homicide victim and did not succumb to alcohol poisoning, as her travel companions alleged to the family. Um, Last month, Baja California Sur Attorney General Daniel De La Rosa Anaya said at a press conference, there is no impunity in this case. Everything is under investigation. He also revealed They are working with authorities in the US and added it's important to obtain the court order with regards to whoever is responsible for this, but also if there were any other accomplices. While his office has requested extradition for a suspect, their name has not been made public. But from what I understand, it is the young lady who was seen beating uh, Shanquilla to death in this video. So that is still ongoing. From what I understand, the process when it comes to extradition from an American citizen having to be extradited into a foreign country, many were concerned because it was a crime against American versus not a Mexican citizen. But I think with the worldwide pressure that has been applied, I do think that eventually we will see justice. I know the word on the street is that the FBI did round up some people and put them in that in that cold ass room and had some questions. Um, that's what I understand. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's my understanding about how that would be the normal process for things. But it's unfortunate. Young people, I mean, you get one life and you're just trying to go on vacation and have a good time. These are people you feel comfortable with, and then you end up coming back in a body bag and with them lying about what actually happened to you. It makes no sense. Another shooting that happened that really didn't get a lot of traction, but really disturbed me. So there is apparently a place in LA, up in the Beverly Hills, which everybody thinks Beverly Hills is awesome, fabulous, and wonderful, which in some parts it is. But for those of you who don't know, and it probably happens in major cities all the time, but especially in LA, people will rent out these massive mansions for like these day parties and these overnight parties and these freaky parties. And so, anyways, there were women, black women, I do believe, that were murdered in um in a Porsche SUV uh on vacation. Two were from Chicago and one was from Arizona. Uh, the LA Times reports that aspiring rapper Two Mothers killed in Benedict Canyon shooting. Families ask why. Uh, those who died, all of whom had roots in the Chicago area, include two mothers and an aspiring actor who said by a friend to be in LA for a music album release. My lord. Early Saturday morning, more than 30 shots rang out in a matter of seconds, hitting a rented Porsche sports utility vehicle where the women were sitting. They had been among people linked to a short term rental on the block where the gunfire occurred. The lifelong friends died seated alongside one another. The attack wasn't random, but targeted members of their group. LAPD Captain Jonathan Tippett said detectives in the LA Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division has been scouring security cameras in the neighborhood and interviewing survivors, and they developed some strong leads on the gunman. Yana Hutton, 33, was trying to get into the music business before she was killed. Yana had started to do well with promoting and getting her music heard. They went out to LA for an album release party, said artist Mikey Fentz, a longtime friend of Hutton. Earlier that night, they visited a bowling alley, my lord. Before returning to their rental home, he said, Finn said he had known Hutton since fifth grade and another victim, Nina Davis, 29, since seventh grade. Davis of Bolingbrook, Illinois, was one of Hutton's best friends, he said. She was a mom who worked as a nurse. The third woman, Destiny Sims, 26, of Buckeye, Arizona, a mother of three and a hairstylist, grew up in Illinois before moving west with her family. Finns wondered if something happened at the bowling alley to set off the deadly events that night, but Tippett said detectives had no evidence of any altercation. Investigators have not yet offered any theories on what led to the killings. Tippett said it's difficult squaring such violence with these victims, none of whom had a criminal history. Um, Keith Hutton, the expiring rapper's father, wrote on social media, I would have never thought that I would be saying this to any of my children. Never in my lifetime, my firstborn girl. I love you so much. I thank God for all the moments that you and I have shared. His Facebook post was followed with a note saying he appreciated condolences he had received. Sims was born and raised in Chicago. Her mother, Donna Howard, told NBC5 in Chicago. Howard said she had no idea what led to the shooting, but was shattered beyond words. I don't wish this pain on nobody ever, Howard wrote on Facebook. So you have three young black women murdered and gunned down uh, in Beverly Hills off of Beverly Crest. So I would urge anyone who has any information or details regarding this to please contact LAPD and just tell it like it is, because this needs to be solved. And in all these situations with Shanquilla, Tyree, and these three young women that lost their lives, no parent wants to bury their child. No parent. And no parent should have to. But unfortunately, this is where we are. Um, and then I have been trying to follow and get additional details, and my curiosity leads me back to the University of Virginia shooting that happened a couple of months ago, where a young man opened fire after they got back from seeing a musical or play. Let's see, I'm eating ice cream too. I'm trying to eat this ice cream up out of my refrigerator. Huh. Atlanta is too high. I have to find some places to live. It's too high. Um, let's see. So y'all remember that shooting? Let's see, when did it happen exactly? Um, so the suspect in the deadly Virginia football shooting appears in court. A University of Virginia student accused of fatally shooting three UVA football players and wounding two other students made his first in-person appearance in court on Thursday, and this was December 8th, as a judge set a date for hearing when witnesses will testify about the shootings on a bus carrying students back to campus. So we're going to have a preliminary hearing. Christopher Dardell Jones Jr., 23, was led in court wearing handcuffs, leg irons, and a striped jail suit. He sat quietly as his public defender, a prosecutor, and Judge Kenneth Andrew Snithern scheduled a preliminary hearing for March 30th. If the judge decides after hearing from witnesses that the state has enough evidence to establish probable cause that Jones committed the killings, he'll send the case to a grand jury. Commonwealth's attorney James Hingley told the judge that the state plans to call a large number of witnesses. Jones has not yet entered a plea, and public defender Liz Murtaugh declined to comment. Jones, a former member of the football team, is accused of opening fire on a charter bus as he and other students arrived back on campus after seeing a play and having dinner together in Washington, D.C. Authorities have not released a motive. A witness told police the gunman targeted specific victims. Football players Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler were killed, while a fourth member of the team, Mike Hollins, and another student were wounded. Jones is being held without bond on second-degree murder and other charges in the shooting, which set off a manhunt and a 12-hour campus lockdown before Jones was apprehended in suburban Richmond. His first Albemarle General District Court hearing was by video link from jail. So I really, really, really would like to know what set off this young man to want to go out and kill his fellow classmates. I mean, like, what was the reason for him to do such a thing? Um, I mean, it defies logic. And I guess there really is no rhyme or reason. And, we can go through questions and ask the who, the how, the why. It just, parents send their kids off to school. And nobody expects their kids to come back, being victims of gunfire and being murdered by classmates. I mean, it happens. Don't get me wrong, because there's some crazy people. Go to college, find a lot of interesting people. Uh, let's see. So it's November 13th is when the incident happened of 2022. So I still will be watching this one, the Shanquilla Robinson, as well as following what's going to happen with these LAPD officers that keep killing people just because, like, it's a fucking sport. Like, excuse me, a freaking sport. It doesn't make any sense. Um, we all have a right to live here on this planet. Um, on Trying to think, what could I talk about that would be fun and interesting now? Because everything I talked about was so dark. But these are the things that are really disturbing me. It just a lot of it just defies logic. Like, can we live? It becomes the question for many of us. Can we live? And it's like apparently not, because some people don't want us to live. Um, and if you're not getting shot in the street, there are things happening on your job that just, my friends and I've been talking about it. Recently, my friend said one of the managers died at her job, and that was over the weekend on Monday. People are already trying to hop it and to see, well, who's going to replace him? Like, I want the job. Like, really? Like, damn, his body ain't even cold and in the ground yet, and y'all already. But like we always say, and I was telling somebody, I said, you would think that as time goes on with these companies and these organizations, they would kind of start to see that, yeah, people make funny memes and videos and reels about stuff, but at the same time, y'all might want to really take a serious, deep look at what it is that everyone is complaining about. Because it is not easy to work for micromanagers and megalomaniacs and people with a chip on their shoulder. I have never understood why you have an organization where you have so much turnover and y'all sit there like ostriches and act like it's not happening. And it is. And you're aware of what the problems are, but yet you do nothing. Well, they gone. They gone. And what about the clients? What about the customers? Where you gonna get your money from? Because if they ain't getting good service, they will go on down the road. They will grab that portfolio, they purse, they pocketbook, whatever you want to call it, and go on up down the street to the next one. And I was telling somebody, I said, it doesn't make any sense, And I saw it in the organization I was in. My poor friend died, and they never really bothered to replace her. They didn't even send a freaking plant. Like, I was just dumbfounded. But like I said, I just don't get it. Yeah, we make fun. We say, oh, you see these memes where people say, they don't want to go to work. They're sick of working here. The truth of the matter is, yeah, sometimes your job literally drives you to the point of sickness. And then when you try to go get some help, you know, they won't look at you crazy and strange because, well, y'all done drove me to the point of being sick, and then when somebody dropped dead, that's when, even then, it doesn't make a difference because life goes on, it does. But at the same time, I wish more people would stand in the shoes of those and just imagine, what if it was me? You want some sympathy, you want some empathy. Um, but that was just one of the things that is disturbing me too about just corporate America in general. And I just downloaded this book. I don't know when I'm gonna read. I'm always buying books, but I don't ever read nothing. But there is a book. My friend and I were talking about how the Supreme Court made a decision some years ago where they decided that corporations could be treated as people. Make that make sense. We also talked about how our tax code is so jacked up. I remember I was talking to someone who lives in England who is English when I had to close out a trust account for someone because the beneficiary had died, and upon that beneficiary's death, the trust goes to these beneficiaries that were in England. And they were like, "We don't pay taxes. We don't file taxes. They just, they just there you go. This is what you paid this year." I was like, I feel like America need to get like that because honestly, whatever I've paid into the tax pool, that should be sufficient. Cause it ain't like when I need it, you gonna let me have it. Because heaven forbid, like right now, I need EBT. Hmm. I need EBT. These groceries are too goddamn high. If I was to go in there, I'd get laughed at right now because of my salary base. But I'm like, if you look at how much I'm paying in rent and how much I'm paying in groceries, yeah, I need EBT. Hmm. Yeah, you know me. I was done with EBT. Yeah, you know me. Anyway, I'm gonna get off of here. It's been fun. Okay, it hasn't really been fun because it was kind of depressing what I talked about, but it's a cold, rainy night in Georgia, and I just want to get under the covers. Harlem is back on uh, Amazon Prime with Megan Good and all the nice ladies. And then, all the Queen's Men is back on BET Plus. The storylines don't make a bit of sense, but we invested. I said, this is like watching a bad telenova. I don't know what, from the first season to the second season, it just went all the way off the rails, left unbelievable shit happening. I'm like, why Fuego act like he ain't got no manhood about him no more? Like somebody just took his balls. And I was like, I don't understand. And then that whole storyline with the Bolo's character Doc and that crazy baby mama. And then that cop lady, she always seething and hunting around trying to get Eva or Madam. Um, yeah, it's just interesting. And then, of course, I watch Real Housewives of Potomac. I said I was going to do a separate video about that. I might, but this season is just very disturbing to me because Robin Dixon and because we gotta call her Dixon. She's been married twice now to one, even though she claimed now he had been cheating on her during the pandemic because he was at home bored. And I was like, no, he just tired of you, but okay. Um, but I mean, it's just really interesting, and if you really pay attention, we talk about colorism, and it's real. A lot of these women on the show are fair-skinned Black women, and then you have people like Wendy, Candace, even when Monique was on there. They just ran these women out of town on a rail expeditiously as they could. Um, you know, and it's messy ass Ashley that's always in somebody's marriage trying to say that they cheating when you the one out here being exploited and abused in some respects is what it sounds like to me. I'm not saying you are, but that's what it sounds like. Cause to me, when she's telling these stories about having threesomes and things like that with her soon to be ex-husband or ex-husband, I don't know what Michael Darby is, but it sounds like you uncomfortable with it, but you laugh through the pain. I could be wrong. And then you always run tell that and doing the go between shit. Like, girl, ever since you've been on the show, you've been doing that. I mean, and how dare you come for Candace and Chris's marriage? Chris ain't looked at nobody. He don't want none of them dusty women. He don't want anybody that look like a Sesame Street character. If anything, she should have been asking him, how do I get to Sesame Street? I'm just saying, the shit is wild and crazy and off the rails, and then Wendy's husband, he just smiled at people, he just friendly. Shout out to the first fam. I found out Eddie was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, and as we know, Wendy is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So is Giselle, but I'm like, that is not good sisterly relations. Um, But and then Giselle and Robin honestly just don't have a real storyline. So what they do is they dig up stuff. And then Mia today, she done posted that she tired of folks saying she lying. And I'm like, you do lie. You lie all the time. You lied the first season you got on there. Where did where did you say you met G? You said you met him at an upscale strip club, steakhouse, gentleman's club, while you were wearing a negligee gown, fancy shit, and dancing. And I was like, was there karaoke? Then this season you come on and you say you met him down in Miami while he was still married and got with him. Now, regardless of what G's status was, if he was separated or thinking about leaving unhappy, the man ain't got no papers. It's just like you go down to the SPCA, your dog got to get some papers to say you done adopted them. He ain't have no papers to say he was free. And then, now you and your girlfriend, Jacqueline, on the outs because you want to be nasty to her for whatever reason, and your insecurities from childhood is coming out, so you just being mean and nasty because now you got a little bit of change because you came up when you married Gordon, who comes off as a complete pervert. You're throwing stuff on Wendy, that's assault. And I'm just like, what is going on, Jesus? This is all just bad. It's all bad. But maybe I'll do a separate video. Talk about RHOP here. Y'all leave Chris Bassett alone. Y'all leave Candace alone. Candace got the best reads. People hate Candace for some reason, but I'm like, the whole time she's been on there, to me personally, she's not been problematic. Now, there are some things that she do get wrong, as do all of them. And Wendy, when she came on, she was annoying as hell with her degrees, but y'all don't know. She's Nigerian. That's how they define their lives. Their mama damn, that's the most important thing. I mean, the lady that played Molly told us that on the HBO special. Now her mother is like, "Is your child on HBO?" My daughter is on HBO. I am so proud. And I think that's steeped in all Black parents. They want all of us to be great. Because, like I tell anybody, my parents had me on lockdown all the time. I better be bringing home nothing but A's. And then when I got older and they found out this child's a little special with math, and I was very special with math. Baby, I can't solve for X and tell you why. I can't. Anyways, I gotta go. I've got some pasta I need to cook before it goes bad. I got from Aldi. There are cheaper places to shop, by the way. Trader Joe's, Aldi, Little. If you got them in your town, go. Kroger. People think that Kroger is high. No, high is Publix, but I still shop at Publix. Cheap, especially if you want produce that's cheap. Sprouts. Sprouts Farmers Market truly gives farmer market prices on their produce. I can't say the same for the meat, but I can't say the same for the produce. I do shop at farmers market. There's the DeKalb Farmers Market here. Their prices aren't too much when it comes to produce. Like, I'm sorry, Aldi and Sprouts got them beat. But that seafood, because I go for the seafood mostly. I got to go get me some branzino, some red snapper, some Chilean sea bass. Those are my preferred fish. Of course, they expensive. I love red snapper. It's delicious. You cook it right. Oh, and grouper. Love grouper. But anyways, there are places to shop. You just have to know how to shop. Be sure to use your shopping apps and get those coupons. I know I'm going off on a tangent. But anyways, that's all I've got. I've been Miss Sophia the Diva. Have a good night.